Hi, everybody. Welcome to For Better.
Yeah, welcome.
We're Lauren and Joy Hershey coming to you from Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah.
From these holy confines, this wonderful studio that we have right here.
It's our
We're
house.
glad. Coming to you to talk to you and enrich your marriages and relationships. The Lord really laid it on our heart, didn't He?
Yeah, He really did. Hey, what's today? Today's Super Tuesday.
Today's Super Tuesday.
So there's a lot of excitement going on in the news world.
That's right.
So the Democrats are having their Super Tuesday. Obviously, the Republicans don't need it this year, but that's going on. So that's pretty exciting today.
Primaries happening in 14 different states, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Various results all over,
big
but
day.
it's good for our nation to move forward.
Right.
Super Tuesday. It's also a super day to be sowing into your marriage and your relationships, right?
It is. We're just really proud of you guys for caring about your marriage enough to tune in. God really put it on our heart to help
Yes.
people in their marriages. And so we settled on this way of doing it. Rather than having a meeting or a seminar, we're just doing a weekly little post here to impart to you some scripture, to impart to you some truth, and to just encourage you, because we all need encouragement in our marriages. So we're really proud of you for tuning in and watching this and just taking a few minutes to invest in your marriage. So good job, you guys.
Good job. Hi, Amanda. Glad that you're with us.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, and while you all are watching this, when you type something into us, if you have questions or things like that, go ahead and let us know that you're there. Let us know your questions and comments and things like that.
Yeah.
And we will zero in on things that are really important to you. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Thanks for joining us. And tomorrow, I'm going to ask you a question in case you don't know what tomorrow is. What day of the year is a command to go forward? Randy, I know that you'll know this one, being a military guy. It's March 4th. That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow's March 4th.
Tomorrow's March 4th.
Also, something else cool about tomorrow when we look up to see what's the national day of. Tomorrow is the national day to give a GI a hug.
Yep.
So, Randy, I know that you'll appreciate that. Hey, Pastor Bruce, thanks for tuning in tonight.
Oh.
All right. So
Yes, thank you.
So what are we talking about tonight?
Today, I'll tell you guys, something was laid on my heart today that I just really wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
And in talking, and that's honor. The dynamics in a marriage and in the home, there's a lot of mechanics, a lot of skills that we want to teach you, little techniques and tricks.
Tricks.
Little
Not
helpful
manipulative,
things. Not
but just
manipulative.
tips, really.
Techniques, I guess would be the right way to say it.
Yeah.
But it comes back to honor.
Yeah.
In Ephesians chapter 5, we read that it says that wives, submit to your own husbands as unto the Lord. Mm-hmm. And husbands, you're the head of your home as Christ is the head of the church.
Yeah.
And next week, we're going to be beginning to talk about that S thing, that, no, not sex. We're going to talk about submitting. And but here's where I'm coming from on this, is that, for instance, we used to have a course in our Bible school called Submission and Authority. And I know that in foreign countries, when they teach that course, they've changed that because they saw a dynamic happening that they really were not hitting the bullseye of what they wanted to hit with that course.
Yeah.
And that is because sometimes in talking about submission and authority, it becomes real mechanical. And you lose the heart of it. And really, they've changed the name of the course to a life of honor. Life of honor.
Hey, John and Chen Chen, thanks for tuning in, and Michael.
Wow, glad to have you with us. And so in the home, the husband is the head of the home as Christ is the head of the church. He's the love head.
Right.
And the wife is called to submit to her husband as unto the Lord.
Right.
But it all comes down to honor.
Yeah.
Honor. Valuing each other. Mm-hmm. Having that sense of respect for each other and value for each other in your heart.
Yeah.
And then showing that in your life.
Yeah.
And so all these things that are being lived out, the husband taking his place as the leader, and the wife submitting to the husband's leadership, following the husband's leadership is a matter of honor. Honor. For instance, husbands, and this, you might think this is gross. Now, I have never.
You're scaring me right now.
I have never done this. I shouldn't say I've never done it, but you hear all the time about people saying, "Don't leave your dirty underwear laying around," you know, or just the other day, someone was talking about, "Don't leave your towel laying on the bathroom floor." Well, listen, guys. And all of you, but especially you men, you know, apparently this is our problem.
Figuring that the men do it more than the women?
Yeah, yeah, that's what it seems to be told, these things. Why do you pick up your wet towel off the floor? Why do you pick up your other things off the floor and put them away? It's not because you're nagged to do it. It's because it's honor.
Yeah.
It's honor. That's how you show her honor. You value her in your heart, and that's why you do these things in your life.
It's a blessing.
Then honor other ways, you know, not only pick up your stuff, but like we would say, pick up your game. Okay? In other words, when a holiday comes around, when Valentine's Day comes around, when your anniversary, her birthday comes around, you don't get all upset about buying a gift. You realize that you honor her. You know, she's your. Well, let me just remind you. Proverbs chapter 18, in verse 22, says, "He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord." She's a gift to you guys.
Amen.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
stop and think about it. She made a choice to give herself to you for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow. What a gift. You don't earn her love. You don't deserve her love.
Aw.
You don't own it.
Own it. Yeah.
She gives that to you as a gift.
Yeah.
And what a gift God has given you. I mean, there's all sorts of guys out there, and some of you guys might be single watching this, and you're longing for that gift of a wife.
Yeah.
And they come from God. Proverbs 19:14 says, "House and riches are inherited from parents, but a congenial wife, a pleasant to live with, joyful, friendly wife, is from the Lord."
Oh,
And what a gift.
amen.
And so we honor them. We honor them. And part of that involves using our wealth to show that honor to the Lord, that value.
Yeah.
Joy, I would like you to read 1 Kings chapter 10. There's
I will.
4 verses here, 1 Kings 10. Some of you may be familiar with when the Queen of Sheba came to visit King Solomon. In 1 Kings chapter 10, it says how impressed she was with his way his court was arrayed with splendor,
Yeah.
with the excellence that even the luggage bearers or the attendants in the court, how everything was so excellent. And this particular portion talks about the honor they showed one another. So would you read that 1 Kings 10?
I will. I want to say hi to Jordan first. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Thanks for joining us tonight. In 1 Kings chapter 10, this is in the New Living Translation, and we'll start with verse 10. And again, we're talking about when the Queen of Sheba came to see Solomon, King Solomon. And it says this, "Then she gave the king a gift of 9,000 pounds of gold,
Wow.
great quantities of spices and precious jewels. Never again were so many spices brought as those the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon.
Wow.
In addition, Hiram's ships brought gold from Ophir." Is that how you say it? "And they also brought rich cargoes of red sandalwood and precious jewels. The king used the sandalwood to make the railings for the temple of the Lord and the royal palace, and to construct lyres and harps for the musicians. Never before or since has there been such a supply of sandalwood. King Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba whatever she asked for, besides all of the customary gifts that he had so generously given." Then she and all her attendants returned to their own land.
Wow.
Wow, that was quite an exchange of gifts.
Yeah.
And we still have that kind of tradition today that
Yes.
goes on, and maybe it's not quite as abundant, but there's still that tradition that when kings from foreign countries come to visit our president, come to the White House to see our president, or
Yeah.
when our president goes to another land,
There you go.
there's always an exchange of gifts. And I
Yeah.
think in the Smithsonian Museum, there's a lot of those things that are
Yeah.
on display that different countries have sent over to honor our president as they come over here and things. So
Yeah.
it's still today, but it just shows that that's one of the ways that we show the honor that's in our heart
Yeah.
to another person
Yeah.
by presenting them with something. And
Yeah.
it's not that the person is materialistic and wants to be showered with gifts necessarily, but there's just a truth there that when you give something of value, it shows value.
It shows value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. You.
Did I say what you were going to
No,
say?
no. I just got stumbling over and said, I'm so impressed with what you said. It was really good.
Okay.
But think about these dignitaries come, these two heads of state coming, and you guys, you're intelligent people. You can understand the honor
Yeah.
that they were showing each other through the giving of these gifts.
Right.
Now, let's take that into marriage
Yeah.
and showing honor. I come to her from my land, my husband land, my guy land.
How is it over there in Guy Land?
It's pretty strong. And she comes into the marriage from wife land. And we each bring to each other gifts
Yeah.
from the land we come from,
Yeah.
bestowing upon each other honor,
Yeah. Yeah.
showing
right.
the value we have for each other.
Right.
What about 1 Peter 2:17 there?
All right, here's what it says in the Passion Translation. Recognize the value of every person and continually show love to every believer. Live your lives with great reverence and holy awe of God. Honor your rulers. So it's saying to recognize
Yeah.
the value of every person. So that would include your spouse. So
Yes.
not just the people out there somewhere, not just, your friends or people at church
Yeah.
or people at, your boss at work or co-workers or whatever. Yes, show honor to them.
Yeah.
But bring that into your home too and make sure that you're showing your spouse the honor that they deserve. Show the honor.
Show the honor.
Show the honor. We
Yeah.
want to emphasize that show
Yeah.
because that's a big part of honor is first it is of course in your heart.
Yes.
I honor your position as the head of our home and I honor you as a godly man. So I have that in my heart because you're awesome and I'm blessed to have
Thank
you in
you,
my
hon.
life. But I want to show that too. And so some of the ways that I show that, and sometimes it's really simple things, but important things. Like one of the things that we do in our home to honor his position, that I do to honor his position is, this sounds super simple, but it's important to you,
It is.
that he sits at the head of our dinner table.
Yep.
So we have a family meal and whatnot. He's the head of our family. And so he always sits at the head of the table. Like
Yep.
he doesn't just sit around the table with everybody else. We give him the place at the head of the table. And that is a way of showing honor.
It's not that I'm too high and mighty to sit someplace else.
No, or that you think
But-
you're better than everybody else. It's not that at all.
Mm.
But I choose to make
Yeah.
sure that you have that place of honor in our home. And so that's just a simple way. Also, you're the one that you're the one that either prays over our meals or you assign somebody
That's right. Yeah.
because he's the head. And so I want to show him that honor that way. But other ways of showing honor to him would be, and these are not as direct, maybe, but they are ways of showing honor. So one of the things that I did as our kids were growing up, we were raising our kids and they were at home, and it was the way that I talked about him to our children.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
here it
super
is.
important how
Yeah.
you talk about your
Yeah.
husband to your children.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can get in the middle and they can be like, oh, whine to mom about, oh, why is dad so mean? Or why is he correcting me? Or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
They can kind of get attitudes. And so you always want to make sure that as the wife and mom in this particular instance, that you are esteeming and honoring your husband even as you talk to your children.
Yeah.
To make sure that your children know, no, he's the head of our home and we honor him. You know, your dad is the head of our home. He's a man of integrity and he's got your best interest at heart, you know, and we honor him. And so I did that as our kids were growing up, you know, and they're grown now. But I did that. So I want to encourage you to do that. Those
That'll
of
be
you
huge for
who
you.
have kids, make sure that you instill that honor in your kids as well. But another thing that I want to make sure that I say to you is that as wives, another way to honor our husbands is to make sure that the words that we speak in public about our husbands are honoring words, that we don't drag him down in the eyes
wow.
of others.
So huge.
So whether
Yeah.
we're talking
Right.
to our friends or whether we're
Yeah.
talking, you know, to just anybody. I mean, it's just so easy to just be flippant and be complaining and put other people down. I know that the media, all the television shows and movies and all of that, there's a real lack of respect that they, you know, show for one another in the media. And so I don't want you to take that into your house. I want you to make sure that when you speak of your husband, that you're lifting him up in the eyes of other people and you're not bringing him down. So whether it's your mom, which is really important because how your mom thinks about your husband is a reflection of how you represent him to her.
Oh, wow.
So if you talk about all the ways that he disappoints you and is not meeting your expectations or whatever, if you do that, then your mom is not going to respect your husband. And you're not showing respect for him and honor for him either if you run him down.
Yeah.
So keep your words positive, keep honoring him to others, and that's some of the ways that you can show honor.
Yeah, your children, and in Proverbs there's a verse, I wish I had the reference, you can look it up. The King James Version says if children disobey or dishonor their father and their mother, the young eagles will pick their eyes out. So you might want to really check that out because your dishonor, how you treat one another is going to be picked up and lived out by your children in your home. You know, and guys, your big old muscles are given to you not just to be strutting around and looking good. I mean, you are looking good, guys. You are looking good. But 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7 tells us to, likewise, you husbands, give honor to your wives as the weaker vessels. Live with her in an understanding way, giving honor to her as a weaker vessel. Not a weaker-minded individual, but as an equal human being with you, equal heir of grace from God as you, but the weaker vessel. Generally speaking, men are stronger than women. Mm-hmm. And so your big old muscles, if you will honor her and use your big old muscles to serve her, man, it'll be wonderful. You'll find so much going better. Give honor to her as the weaker vessel. Use your strength, guys. Use your strength. And to go back to what we're talking about, you know, the husband's headship, the wife's submission, all these things, they're outflows. They have to stem from that heart of honor for one another. They have to be expressions. They are expressions of your honor. And really, if you're having a hard time doing those things that you should do, go back and check your heart and stir up your honor again, and you'll find a willingness rising in yourself to do those things that you know you should do. And single folks, you can get a leg up on this and practice this by beginning to go show honor to everybody around you. value them, esteem them. Of course, the ones closest to you, let how you would treat the checkout person, the honor you show the checkout person, be a baseline for how you treat those that you love around you. Don't ever show your spouse less honor than you would show somebody else. So what's our tip for today? We want to give you guys a tip on how to stir up love. That's what
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to do.
So your assignment when you click off of here is to ask one another. Oh, no, to say to one another, right?
To fill in this blank.
Sorry.
Fill in this sentence. I feel honored when. Okay, let's say it again.
Yeah.
I feel honored when, and you fill in the blank with one another.
So share with one another what your spouse does that makes you feel honored. We get more of what we appreciate, and so when they know what they're doing is communicating that honor to you, then they'll just probably do it more. And
Yes.
so that's great.
Yeah, so I feel honored when. Hey, we love you guys.
We do.
And we're...
We want God's best for
Oh,
you.
man, we sure do. So join us again next week at 8:30 on Tuesday, and we'll be sharing some more as we go along.
Yep.
And again, post these things, share these things, and thanks for being with us. We love you. Have a great
Yes.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.